Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome. Welcome to the market close. It's Thursday. What is it? December 18th. Holy banana bread. We're really close. The holidays will be here in 1 week. In fact, a week from today is Christmas. So that's kind of cool. And in case you guys are wondering, we have a stream on Christmas Day. So we will be here Christmas morning. It's pretty early for you West Coasters. It's early, but nonetheless, if it's a little bit before you wake up, you can definitely catch it on the replay if you got time. Because keep in mind, I have a rule about Christmas. Your family comes first. Family, then stream. So that's the way I look at it. Oh boy. Well, we're off to an interesting start. We did get a sub. We got a sub. So Ivan has joined the Banana Bread crew, and it's kind of funny. I was looking at that and I'm like, all right, well, the rule to get another stream is a gifted sub or a super. But, well, gifting a sub to yourself, I think it counts. I think it counts. So Ivan, welcome aboard. Thank you very much for subscribing to the channel. And right out of the gate, we got a goat. We got a goat. One of them in our thing. So guys, if we get 3 more either gifted subs, supers, or a combination before the end of today's stream, then we're going to add a stream to tomorrow. So we'll keep the Financial Express moving for sure. I love it. I love it. I love being able to jump right in immediately before we get over to the charts. Now, speaking of the charts, we got ourselves a green day. So this is a good change. I know the last couple of days we've had a little bit of red, a little bit of turmoil, but today's been a little bit better. Some of the reasons, some of our market, what am I going to call them? Just market conditions, our market drivers of the day. One is, well, there's a lot of positivity going on right down in the U.S., and we're going to talk about the U.S. here in a moment. But some of that is spilling over into the TSX. So we have that. That's one little factor. We did have a little bit of a gold movement to the upside this morning. I think it's retraced now. I think we're back in the red with gold, but we did have a little bit of that. I like that for sure. There's also been the concerns that we've had over the last couple of days. People still kind of worried all about the Bank of Canada, about the rate cuts, about what's going to happen next. Those concerns, because we've gotten a little bit beyond that rate, well, the non-cut, our pause, people are starting to calm down. People are starting to calm down. That is definitely helping. And things are looking a little bit better right across the board. So that is kind of what we're seeing in Canada. Now, I did mention the U.S. I did mention that the U.S. was having some very it's an interesting day in the U.S. for sure. So one is that, they had a delayed CPI report that showed core inflation easing to a 4-year low. That's pretty big. That's actually pretty cool for sure. And that alone is boosting expectations for the Fed to make more cuts in 2026. So that has certainly gotten investors off to a good start. Technology is kind of rallying around Micron today. So Micron, if you guys remember, we looked at them yesterday, and they had fantastic earnings. In fact, Micron was up 12% on those earnings. Holy banana bread. And that's pretty darn cool. It's actually kind of spilling over into tech. So the NASDAQ having a pretty good day today. And we're going to look all at that in a moment. Oil prices, they were edging up a little bit earlier today. I think they've retraced, though. I do think that they have retraced. Of course, we saw oil really make a movement yesterday around all of that stuff with, all of that oil blockade down there around Venezuela. Also, in Canada, and I guess this is another spillover, Those marijuana stocks, well, they're probably going to pump a little bit more today just because Donald Trump signed his executive order, the marijuana one. So, yeah, he he got the U.S. into the weeds, and that might be helping out those stocks a little bit today. Still risky in my opinion, but nonetheless. All right, let's jump on over and holy banana bread. I actually need to pull up that screen. Give me a second. It's funny. I was so well ahead this morning. Not this morning, but a little bit earlier. I had everything ready. I was like, okay, all right, I'm good. I've got it all ready. Let's do it. And yeah. For whatever reason, and let's see here. Whoops. Where is my screen? There it is. For whatever reason, I somehow it all fell apart at the last minute. Basically, a little bit of camera issues I had to sort of work through just before the show. So that ate up all the extra time. And I was even sitting there saying, gosh, I think I'm going to go 2 minutes early today. And I think I was about 30 seconds late. So what can I say? But here is our Canadian market. So right now we are up 0.78%. Loving it. Well above that blue line. Those of you who are new to the channel, that blue line is where we left November. So if we're above the blue line, we're having a green December. If we're below, we're having a red. If we use our holiday metaphors, being above means you're on the nice list. Being below, you're on the naughty list. But, I kind of like a little naughty list when I'm shopping, that's for sure. But today we are doing half decent. We currently do have a nice green candle that we're currently working on. So it's looking good. It's looking good right across the board. Looking at the S&P 500, they're also up 0.91. Now they are still on the naughty. They're still in the naughty list, but they've made some movement. They've made a little bit of movement today, and I told you guys tech is having a great day. Well, here it is. So tech is up 1.72%. And you can actually see we actually got a gap in here. So they jumped up pretty high. Obviously all about those earnings yesterday from Micron. So pretty good. Dow Jones having a green day as well, up 0.23. Now our industrials have come down a little bit in the last candle, but they're still doing fine. They're doing fine today. And the little guys, the Russell, looking fine. They're 0.64 up. Now, all of our commodities, any of our commodities that were doing good today, they've all slipped. They've all slipped into the red. So gold currently 0.13 down. Silver 1.26% down. Copper is down 0.12 as well. WTI down 1.19%, and crypto is also having a pretty red day here. Bitcoin down 1.58, Ethereum down 1.73. Jump into the heat map. Much better than yesterday. Yesterday this was all bright red. The banks all looking very strong. TD looking good, 1.81% up. Royal Bank 1.65. BMO's up 0.57. BNS is up also 0.79%. Some of our non-energy minerals. So these are our mining stocks and such, doing good. Barrick Gold up 0.93. Cameco, those of you who love your uranium, look at that. They're up 3.46% today. Good old Cameco here. Oil, like I said, it's kind of settled down a little bit. So we are deeper in the red. And we can see this here. You can see Canadian Natural Resources down 1.25. Imperial Oil's down. Cenovus is down. Torlamine's down. Suncor's down. They're all down. Looking at the United States, we can see once again, we got a little bit of strength here in the tech sector. Microsoft up 1.75. Google up 2.04. Apple up just a little bit, 0.16. Nvidia up a full 2%. Tesla having a pretty good day, up 4.12%. So not too shabby, not too shabby at all. And heading into crypto, it's mostly a red day, Bitcoin down, Ethereum down, XRP down 3.77, Solana is down. Oh boy, even Dogecoin down 4.52% today. Now, we do have a tradition here. I like to highlight an altcoin. And come on, let's see if I can get to... My mouse wheel is being sluggish. Here we go. Now, the market overall is red. So let's find somebody who's actually in the green. And let's grab this one. I don't know what this is. Oops, I gotta click and pull it up this way. I used to be able to just click on them and it would bring it up for me. P-Stake. So this is P-Stake Finance. I don't know what this is. Well, logically, it sounds like one thing you can do with some crypto assets is you can stake them. So I don't know, maybe this is a stakeable coin, or maybe they love the beef and they just don't know how to spell very well. This I don't know, but P-Stake Finance, it's worth 0.33 of a penny. So it's not worth very much. I don't know what it does, but it might have something to do in finance. Maybe there might be purpose to this one. I don't know. I'm not really interested in buying it because, well, there's more than 15,000 of these coins, and I call them crap coins. Why? Because it's like going to the casino, going into a game of craps and throwing the dice. It's not in your favor. The house tends to win. So be careful with these little ones. In fact, if you want to make money in crypto, there is money to be made there, but you want to be scrolling in the other direction and looking at your big coins like your Bitcoin, your Ethereum, your XRP, your Solana, Cardano, and gosh darn it, even the Dogecoin. There we go. All right, I'm going to put us back over. I'm going to put us back on the TSX. We'll just leave ourselves over here on the TSX. I'm going big screen. It's time to hit the chat. And, oh boy, we also have the bell coming up in basically 1 minute and 11 seconds. So that's coming up pretty soon too. And I'm putting my hand on it. This has worked this week. So I have been really trying to make sure I don't miss the bell, because I'm notorious for missing the bell. But if I keep my hand on it, it's kind of annoying keeping my hand on it, so it makes me pay attention to the time. So in 50 seconds, I get to ring it, and my hand can be comfortable again. All right, so in first, well, technically in first was Ivan. Technically, Ivan was first, and Ivan got his goat. We got Stan in the house with a hello all. Brian is in the house. Good afternoon, everyone. Larry is in the house. What an amazing day. So much has happened. It's a pretty good day. It is a pretty good day for sure. Claude says, hello. I was kind of wishing CLS would drop to 360, but kind of not at the same time. Good old Celestica. I love Celestica. I am a big fan. And guys, we have 8 seconds. Well, technically, no, we got 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's time. All right. Market is now officially closed. I love it. I did it. I'm on a roll. I am on a roll. I love it. All right. Scott says, good day, fine people of the tube of yous. That's kind of neat. Brian says, my stocks recovered from yesterday and some on top of that. Awesome. And now, very quickly, we got ourselves a super chat. So Samantha is in. Am I late for the Santa goat? You are not late for the Santa goat. Of course, the Santa goat, I'll explain this to you guys, but first, this is goat number 2 of the day. So number 2 goat comes out. This is cool. Samantha, of course, being the greatest of all time. That's what GOAT stands for. So yeah, we've got 2 goats. If we get 4, we get another show. We get another show tomorrow, and we've got that mythical 5th goat. So if you guys go overboard and we hit 5, that's that goat, that rumored Christmas goat. And it makes me laugh. So I will tell you, it really, really does. It's funny. At least I find it funny. What can I say? Oh boy. All right, now let's get back to where I was. I was about to take a comment from Emrit. Let's see, if they are saying employment rates are increasing, this could lead to Bank of Canada to keep rates steady or potentially increase it. Well, here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. We did get a report out today. Basically, job vacancies are going down. So since the last time they reported on job vacancies, they've gone down about 12%. And what that all means is that right now, for every 3.3 unemployed Canadians, there's 1 job vacancy. So even if we somehow got everybody into a job that's available, we would still have 2.3 people would still not get a job out of the current batch of unemployed folk right now. And obviously, when you're looking at job vacancies, sometimes there's a lot of job vacancies for people that there's just nobody qualified. They're not going to hire somebody off the street to be a carpenter if you don't even know how to use a hammer. So definitely interesting for sure. All right, no name says hello, thumbs up, peeps. Yeah, guys, hit the good old like button. That tells the algorithm to push it out. It's a good thing. YouTube really loves it when people interact. They love the comments. They love the likes. All of that makes the algorithm happier. And when the algorithm's happier, they push me out a little bit further. And there's also this new thing, and I don't know if it's working yet or not. I have not seen it on anywheres, but apparently there's this new thing on videos called hype. So my understanding is, now I could be completely wrong on this, but when you're looking at, well here, oh boy, I hate to do this. Guys. But I'm going to bring me up. Just so I can sort of describe it here. Okay, so we'll try to get out before we get into a hole, because we could get into a hole pretty quickly. But down here, you see these 3 dots right here? I got report. I'm not going to report myself. But apparently in those 3 dots on videos, and I don't think on live streams, but on videos, and here, let me get out of there really quickly, because we're going in. I don't even know where that ends. But yeah, with those 3 dots, there's supposed to be this thing called hype. Now, what hype is supposed to do is there's supposed to be a hype page and everything, and for smaller YouTubers, so basically, your YouTuber's under 100,000 subscribers, if you like it, and I think people get about 5 hypes that they can do a month. I think it's a month or a week. I'm not sure the exact time frame. This is a brand new feature. I don't know if it's active yet. I have looked on other people's videos and I have not seen it yet. I have never yet had the opportunity to hype. But anyway, that's just something else that the algorithm is doing that is kind of cool. I do like it when YouTube brings stuff. I actually would love to see YouTube bring more features from Twitch. I think Twitch has really good live stream features. I'd love to see more of them come over to YouTube. So anyway, we'll see how that all goes. All right, let's go big screen again. Larry says DJCO up from 380 to 580. Nice. So DJT Trump stock merged with nuclear fusion up 40%, 2x75 today. Got back into house taking stock ASPS sold for 14, 12, 10, 8, rebought for 650. Account up 13% today, 700K. Nice. Your shareholders. I don't know if that's, I guess we call them clients technically. So Larry runs a fund. So people basically, they give him money, he invests it. He gives them returns. obviously hopefully he keeps a little bit off the side. Although, if I remember correctly, Larry, I think you said everything you're making is going back into the business per se, but I think you said that. Now, I could be wrong on that, but yeah, he's doing well. He's doing well. No Name says, Green Day, what a cool name for a band. Yeah, I heard something like that. I heard something like that. Scott says, hitting the like button before someone invokes Mary. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, Scott, it's too late. She's already here with a hello, everyone. And guys, if you're new to the channel, Mary is our official captain of the like button. So she watches it like a hawk. And yeah, you don't want Mary coming out later saying, guys, you're falling behind. So yeah, definitely hit that like button. Don't evoke the wrath of Mary. And when I talk about Mary, it means I get the opportunity to have some coffee. Oh, it's so good. Oh, and I have a coaster. My coffee's on a coaster. It's a cat. Of course it's a cat. Oh dear. And we do have one of the cats in here with me today as well. She's sleeping. But let's try to show her to you. There you go. She's in there sleeping. If she wakes up, I'll show you guys later, but she just sometimes she's in there. Sometimes she does that. She does a sleep thing. Oops. There we go. There we go. Putting the screen back. It's like, me moving the camera. I should never do that. I should get a second camera. I should get a cat cam. That's what I need. 2026 goal is to have a cat cam. But until then, Scott says, I think that name is Doki, or Dookie, Doki, Okie Dokie. Yeah, there we go. Michelle, anyone else get the first 60 dividend? I'm happy to say I have. Yeah, I don't know if I actually received it or not. But now I kind of want to check. But yeah, the first dividend for 60 should be available, and that means, because guys, with 60, there's going to be 2 dividends a month. So we should get the next one pretty early in January. Not super early, but I think about a week, a little, maybe. I think I thought it was like around the 7th or 8th or something like that, but we'll see. We'll see how that looks. We'll see how that looks for sure. Haven't seen the stinky video you made. Gonna watch it later. Yes, the stinky video. So, oh guys, let me show you this. I want to show you this. Let's come over to Canva. Yeah, so this here is, this is the thumbnail for the new video. That's the one that drops tomorrow. So obviously the title will tell you what it's about, but from this you could probably figure it out. A huge hint is look at the wrapper on that stinky cheese. Look at the wrapper. That's your huge hint for sure. All right, I'm gonna put me back to the charts, and oh, we don't need to be large yet. Sorry, we don't need to be small. A Xenial AVGO or ORCL dust benefit. So Broadcom and Oracle, two pretty solid U.S. tech stocks for sure. Brian, U.S. CPI numbers today were a bunch of poopy doopy. You're starting to sound like Meet Kevin, Brian. You're starting to sound a little bit like Meet Kevin. Very little info actually in the numbers. They only took the gravy and didn't report what would have dragged the numbers down. There's a lot of people that will argue about CPI, not just in the United States, but also Canada, because they have a specific basket of goods that they track. And some people will say, depending on who you are, that they may not be 100% reflective of the average person. So they do look at them every so often. They do update them, but You can make an argument. You can certainly make an argument for sure. Okay, holy banana bread. Larry says, to talk about the 2X plays, I have separate accounts to adjust risk: corporate account, individual accounts, infinitum fund, pooled fund, moonshots, high risk plays with quarterly payment from profit. Nice, 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 nice. Doorpat says, pump, pump, pump. Sadly, I sold my weed stocks at 90% loss. Oh, yikes. Cowboy is in the house with the greetings all. And Amrit says, I think 60 X date was last Monday, but next Monday is when we receive the first dividends. I think somebody said they received theirs today, Amrit. So, well, here, let's take a look. Let's take a gander here. And we'll just head on over. And good old 60. Here we go. Whoop, I got 60U. That's taking 60 to another level. All right, let's head into 60. And let's see here. Oh, look at that. They're doing good today. Well, what am I doing? I want to go to the key data. Let's head over key data. And here we go. So yeah, let me see here. So yeah, they were declared on December 2nd. And your ex-dividend date on the 15th. And payable date is on the 22nd. So I think you're right. So yeah, you're probably not going to see those till the 23rd. So somebody said they received them today. That's odd. That is odd. That is very odd because, yeah, that is odd. I have nothing to say to that other than that's very odd. Let's see. Didn't get a notification for the live stream today. Really? Yikes. Do you have the bell clicked? Like, I don't tell people, I never tell you guys to click on the bell. That's up to you. You know, if you want that notification, click on that bell down by where you subscribe. But yeah, sometimes, and I will say this, sometimes there are channels that I am subscribed to that I've clicked the bell that I don't get notifications for. So sometimes YouTube drops the ball like that. That's one of the reasons, like, guys, I try to keep my schedule very predictable. You know exactly when the videos are coming out. You know when, well, normally you know when the live streams are. Although December, where we got this Financial Express thing going, obviously there's a whole bunch of bonus live streams. So those are outside of the norm. Like, this is not, like, we normally never have a stream on Thursday except for channel member live streams. Those happen once a month on Thursdays, and those are in the evening. Speaking of that, tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern, channel members, I'm going to be streaming again. I will be back, and we're going to have a stream tonight. So today's a double stream. Which means we can't take this stream beyond 7 o'clock. I need to, or at 7 o'clock we just switch over. You know, no, we're not going to go that far. I have to have supper in between these streams. Brian says, I keep buying 60 as dividends come in, up to 91 shares. Nice. And that's just from buying them with dividends. Pretty cool. All right. Amrit says HHIS is still a bit lower right now, sitting at 1247. Okay, fair enough. Hey there, can't wait for MSTE to do a reverse split. It's actually interesting. I think Adriano, I think he brought a couple of the management team from Harvest to ask a bunch of MST questions. I think the video was about a week, maybe 2 weeks ago. They didn't really give any indication that would happen, but you never know. You never know. Let's see here. Claude says HBTE retraced from earlier today, but still in the green. Nice. Yeah. I'm definitely in the green in that one, but I did get in really. I got in at a really good spot. All right, Amrit. I wonder what factors affect cryptocurrency. What affects Bitcoin to go down, as it's pretty integrated into things? I'm just curious. I think there's still a lot of emotion. Like, when and it's not as bad as it used to be. But when, for example, if a country says, "Oh, we're banning Bitcoin," that used to be a big driver. Every time China said they were going to ban Bitcoin, that used to be a big. That would tend to drive the price down a little bit. People would get a little bit worried, like, "Oh my God, if countries are starting to ban it, it's going to be illegal. It's going to zero." So a lot of it is still fear driven. Um, but that goes in both directions, right? All it takes is if let's say President Trump, if President Trump were to create an executive order setting up the exact rules and regulations or let's not say to set up, but to buy Bitcoin. Let's say he just signed an executive order and say, okay, that Bitcoin exchange reserve I was talking about, we're starting to buy it. We're starting to buy and put Bitcoin in there tomorrow. If he did that, that would cause a nice big pump in the price of Bitcoin. So Bitcoin still responds to a lot of that. I don't even want to call them macroeconomic. I'm just going to call them world events, world things, governments. But it's not as bad as it used to be because there's a lot more liquidity. The more money that's into Bitcoin, the more liquidity, the harder it is to manipulate. The harder it is. I'm not saying it's impossible, and I know that Paul was sharing that chart with us. We showed it. What was it? We showed it earlier in the week. So there is that chance of manipulation still, but it's a lot harder. You need to move a lot of money now to make a big dent. Right. Cowboy says, heard a rumor that Alberta may follow the Nutrients lead and reach Pacific through the states with a new pipeline. I saw something on that. I believe Danielle Smith, the premier of Alberta, had said that, if we can't do it through Canada, maybe we could do it through some of the western states. Ideally, it would be better to do it through Canada, obviously, because once you run a pipeline through the states to get your exports out, obviously you're going to lose some money. You're going to have to pay for that to America. America will charge you, whether it be a rental fee for the land, and obviously if you're using an American port, that port's going to make money off of the whole deal too. So I would rather see it happen in Canada, but at the same time, Alberta needs to sell their oil, so I certainly understand them looking at every option. All right. Rory says Washington State is what I heard about. That would probably make sense, Washington or Oregon. Larry says, I have a pile sitting for buying the Dogecoin ETF. I expect Doge to drop to between 0.57 0.057 and 0.09 within 3 months, likely in a flash crash, and we'll scoop up the ETF. Okay, that would be interesting. Cowboy says avoids all of the climate. I'm just gonna say the climate change conversation. There we go. There's my edited version of Cowboy. Michelle says, I love that you miss the bell. It means you're into what you're saying. Oh yeah. I can get into a tangent really easily. But it is, the bell is that one thing I shouldn't miss. I get into a tangent after the bell. That's what I say. Let's see. Scott says probably easier to get a pipeline to the coast through Washington State, but it makes it vulnerable to the whims of a madman in the other Washington. Fair enough. Absolutely. Let's see. Rory says the madman won't sit long on his throne. He's getting too old. Yeah, and that's that thing. And I've heard people say, "Oh, he's going to find a way to do a third term." I'd be surprised if he completely makes it through this term. He's starting to show his age quite a bit. Yeah, there's no way he could run again, even if they somehow made it legal. There's no way. Until we get the sofa, the alleged sofa lover. We'll go with that. Oh, poor JD. He's never going to live that down. All right. Let's see here. To that needs more vol room. Yeah, I don't know about this ballroom. It's like, how often is the White House holding a ball? I mean, it's just I don't know. I think the ballroom is silly. I think it's silly. I don't think they need it. I don't think they should have tore down part of the White House to build a ballroom. A bowling alley, sure. I could get behind a bowling alley, but not a ballroom. Oh boy. All right, Brian, the three dots on your members' first video is still only report, no hype yet. You might have to do it on a public video though. I see, and I honestly don't know. I don't know how that's going to work, but it is supposed to be live. It is supposed to be live. Like, well, here, let's do an experiment. Why not? All right, I'll bring up YouTube, but I will stop watching me. All right, there we go. Let's just go to premium. Bang, boom. All right, here we go. Here's a video, 5 hours old. Let's just pick on it and see. Add to queue. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything here. And well, here's another one. Yeah, see, and I've checked a few times, but this in that list, that's where hype is going to show up when they finally start doing it. But actually, passive income, I think he has more than 100,000 subscribers. So he might have been a bad one to try. All right, let's just go down to your peer blew it. Find a small channel. A small channel. Oh boy. Do I actually watch any small channels? I don't know. No, that's 100,000 views. 42,000 views. Holy banana bread. Yeah, all right. What can I say? What can I say? All right, anyway. We shouldn't be doing that on the show anyway, guys. We really shouldn't be doing. This is where you guys should be like, Candace, what the hell? Just to, get back to the next question, please. All right. Brian says YouTube needs to give up a Three Stooges button to give you a boop in the head when you're late for the bell. I agree. Biggie is climbing in assets under management. Nice. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as of course, the assets increase in value, that does pump up the assets under management. But as more and more people are interested in it, that as well. I don't know. I don't think, as far as I know, they're not adding any extra shares. That's never a good thing because that, of course, would dilute it. Let's see. I hope 60 climbs in AUM. I think it will. Cute kitty, yes. And she's asleep right now, so all you could see was her backside. But, oh, now she's licking herself. But if she turns around, I'll show you guys again. All right, 60 is out again on December 29th. No 60 div in my Wealthsimple yet. I bought it a few minutes after it was available, so I know I made the ex-dividend date. Yeah, and we looked that up. We already looked that one up. Let's see. Dave says, I love the Evolve funds. Biggie, 60, Canny. Absolutely. Yeah, I do like, I mean, I like Evolve funds for sure. Tom says, I don't think I have the guts to watch tomorrow's show. I'm deep on MSTE. Oh boy. Yeah, that's the video. I hear you. But mind you, I will say they're only 1/7 of the show because there's 7 of them in there. Hopefully that's the only one you have. Dave says Bitcoin will go back up. I believe in Bitcoin. Yeah, absolutely. Bitcoin, I think long-term Bitcoin is going to do really, really fantastic. Like I said, and I even think before we go into crypto winter, I think we still got one more hurrah from Bitcoin. So I'm pretty confident on it. I'm pretty confident long-term for sure. Scott says on Bloomberg, an analysis says where they didn't have the numbers for CPI, they just put 0, creative. Oh, really? That's odd. Well, I didn't hear anything about that, but yeah, if they did that, then that CPI is not very valid, not very valid at all, and nothing would surprise me. There's a lot of chaos with the current administration. There is a lot of chaos in the U.S. government. Doesn't matter what side you subscribe to, you got to admit there's the chaos there. Brian, they didn't even report on what their CPI basket was, only a couple of the categories. Look at the report, and maybe 15 to 20% of the categories were only reported on, the rest blank. Okay, yeah, that's not good. The only thing I can hope is that they, they recalibrated what they were measuring it against. So if you only looked at 15 to 20% of the categories, then you need to compare it against the same 15 to 20% of categories from the previous one. But nonetheless, it should still be the full basket. They really should do the full basket. Yeah, I did not know that. I don't like that at all. That's not the way. That's not the way to be responsible with data, for sure. All right. I usually see it through the Facebook page. Paul said, hello, sold the remaining TSLA at 287.16 and Tesla CDR at 42.96 on my TFSA. Will be nice to be debt free except for the mortgage. Okay, nice. Nice. I know that you had done the first half, so that's pretty cool. That's exactly what they did. Don't want to get fired for bad numbers. That's another thing. It's like, if you are the leader, you can't run a country where it's like, if you give me bad numbers, I'm firing you. That's just not right. I'm sorry, but if there's bad numbers, then look at the numbers, look at what they're telling you. Because if you ignore bad numbers, eventually they will catch you. And the repercussions will be worse if you don't deal with issues in your economy. All right. Let's see. New York and Japan. See, if you have Biggie, is there any point in buying HHIS? Isn't Biggie a more concentrated version? They're very similar. So I would look at it as, there's differences for sure. But yeah, I mean, you could technically look at it. I mean, if you're big on Biggie, yeah, maybe you don't need HHIS, or maybe I would just sort of look at it, look at what you're getting, because yeah, sometimes you will find a lot of investors will grab some ETFs that are holding almost the same thing and not realizing they're sort of doubling up on a lot of stuff. So yeah, when it comes to diversification, you may not need both. Isn't what you were saying about Bitcoin known as stablecoin? Stablecoin. Well, stablecoin is basically pegged. Well, basically, it can be pegged to different things. Usually, it's pegged to one of the dollars. So if you've got a stablecoin pegged to the U.S. dollar, or we had it. Oh boy, what was that Terra that was pegged to the price of Bitcoin, but then it had a horrible ending. Yeah, I don't know about stablecoin. I'm not a fan. I'm not a huge fan of stablecoin. To me, it's like, if you want a stablecoin, just get Bitcoin. And you know what? What's Bitcoin pegged to? It's pegged to itself. Sure, it may be measured in the U.S. dollar, but one Bitcoin will always be one Bitcoin, right? That's the way I look at it. Larry said, Trump announced today we're getting a triumphant arch. Oh boy, yes. I heard about this. So yeah, there's talk about building an arch. I'm surprised he should build 2 arches and paint them yellow. Because that's like his favorite place. But anyway. Yeah, he should get a triumphant arch in the UFC fight there to celebrate July 4th next year. The White House already has a bowling alley. Maybe, but it's probably 10 pin. Maybe you could use a candle pin one. Most of you may not know what candle pin bowling is, by the way. Actually, it's kind of a strange thing. So most people in Ontario are aware of 5 pin. You know, you use the small ball, you got 5 pins. Then, of course, the ones that everyone's familiar with is 10 pin, where you got the big balls with the holes in it for your fingers. On the east coast of Canada and in the New England states, they've got something called candle pin bowling. So basically, you got 10 pins. They're very thin like candles, and you're using a small ball like you would use in 5 pin. So it's probably, of the 3 types of bowling, it's a lot. It's the hardest. It's the hardest. It's harder to get a 300 game in candle pin than the other 2. Easily the hardest. But anyway, I like candle pin. I can only see it when I go back home because for some reason it's only in that one little area. So the Maritimes and part of the New England states. Claude says, I really struggle to really apply the objective percentage I set for myself towards my stocks. Lack of discipline, too much excitement when I see sales. All right, fair enough. That's, to me, it's like if you are going to give into emotions, whether it be excitement or anything like that, just have a plan pre-made. If you make a plan and sort of say, okay, I can only spend this amount if there is, if we have a dip, I can only spend X amount of dollars. That'll certainly make it a little bit easier, because then you spend that X amount of dollars, and no matter what other good deals you see, you've hit your target. Now, mind you, I'm going to throw this out there too. Some people can make a plan and they don't follow their own plan. So if you're going to make a plan, you got to follow it. But that's kind of that thing. Like I even mentioned this, like with trading. So if we move aside from investing and we talk a little bit about trading, you want to go in with a plan. Like, when will I take a loss? When will I take a profit? How much will I invest? What are my, I don't want to say trigger signs, but, what am I doing to determine which, when I should get in? Because obviously, and here, let me show you. I know we actually did this the other day. So EXE, let's bring it up here. So we were looking at EXE. Oh, this is beautiful. We were looking back here, all right? And I was saying that this wouldn't be a bad place to get in. Now, look what happened. So if you were the type of investor who got in here and you were like, okay, well, how far am I willing to fall below the line? Maybe if, for me, if it's a fundamentally sound company like this one, I'm okay with even going down because I know it's going to return. But look at this. It did break out a little bit, but bounced right back up, hit that line I drew. So I had mentioned to you guys that if I was going to make, and I didn't do one. I kind of regret it. But I said if I was going to get involved in here, maybe I got in down in here at 21, like around 21.93. And I was like, I wouldn't set it at 22.49. In a case like this, I probably would have sold around 22.30, somewhere's in about there. But yeah, I would have, that would have worked. So there we go. So those of you who saw this before, you're like, oh, here's what happened after Candace drew the picture. And look, and it looks like it's probably going to come back down again. So if it comes back down, it might come down to like 21.60, 21.70. If it does come all the way down, I might get into it this time and then ride it hopefully back up here to like 22.30 or so. So anyway, that's kind of a neat thing. But yeah, so knowing rules, having an idea of when you want to buy. So for me, if I have a channel like this, what I'm going to do, and here, let me grab another. I'm going to grab this other line in here. There we go. And I need another one. All right. There we go. And just give me a second. I'm going to change these colors just to make it a little bit easier. Let's just make them purple. We'll make them purple. I like purple. Here we go. There we go. We got 2 different shades of purple. Wow, they're close. So this is my arrow. So where I charted, of course, is that blue line. But I would then create my, basically this for me is anywhere's below this purple, I will buy. So I would buy, you know, in this case here, if it came down and it got here to about 2181, that's roughly where I'd be like, okay, yeah, I'll buy here. And I'm going to sell, not at the top. I'm going to sell at this one. You know, this one has been reaching the top, absolutely. But a lot of times it may not. A lot of times it could bounce back a little early. So that way there I'm covered. So I like to sort of create this little zone inside. So buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell, as long as it stays in this zone. If it breaks out completely, and for me, this is kind of where I need to see is I need to see it basically move a little bit outside and stay outside. In this case here, now this here is the 1 hour chart. So, you know, you will get movement like this, but I will pay attention. Now, if it were down here, then it's probably a breakout. It's probably not coming back into the zone. It's probably going to create a new zone at that point. And I would then, of course, I would then sort of look. And so this zone here, just to give you a general idea here, let's shrink this down a little bit. Shrink this down a little bit. So as you can see, here was the old zone. Down in here, we had a zone. It broke out, created a new zone. That can happen. It could have broke down. It could have broke down and created a new zone down here, depending on the market. There's always that chance. So for me, I just, like I said, when you look at it from this perspective, you can sort of see this little bit of movement to the outside. Not really a big issue. You know, because potentially if this thing here was to break, if it were to break out, typically, let's give you a general idea here. Typically, it could break. It could potentially break out all the way down to here. Well, technically, it probably wouldn't because we've got this resistance line in here. You're probably looking at about half of this, but you could potentially break that much. But I would say adding in this extra resistance in the middle, it's probably, if it broke out, it probably would break down to about 2073 in that vicinity there. So those are the pieces of information that I would be using when it comes to how I'm going to plot a trade here. And those are rules. Even though they're in my head, they're still rules. So I have general idea of what I'm doing and sort of plans. Like, you know, obviously, you know, if it breaks to the upside, yeah, with this, I will miss it. I will miss the big run if it does explode out. Well, maybe though. And let's say it decides to explode up here, all the way up to like 25. Well, I'm not going to just sell at this line though. I'm going to put in a stop loss. So if it actually had an explosive growth and my stop loss hadn't been triggered yet, I would ride that growth. Sometimes it may retrace and then explode. If it retraces far enough, it'll hit my stop loss. I'm okay with that. I'm in the profit. It doesn't matter to me. You know, it can be $5 a profit, or it can be $1,000 a profit, or $2,000 with profit. It's still profit, and I'm okay with it because you know what? I will miss targets, but if I didn't have that stop loss in, what's to say it didn't all of a sudden go into a big downswing? You know, I guess let's just do that at an angle. What's to say it doesn't go into this big downswing? And you know, I missed my $5. I missed my $20. I missed my $1,000. Yeah, I'm fine with taking it because if this happens, if I take a little profit here and it goes into this downswing, well, I'm probably getting back in down here. So I'm going to be good. Anyway, all right. Tangent finished. All right. The ballroom blitz. The man in the back said, everyone attack. CPI doesn't count energy, food, or housing, so the number is always wrong. All right. Cowboy, if they count energy, food, and housing here in Canada, maybe wake up to the woke. Oh boy. Let's see. HNU, look at that drop today. All right, let's take a look. All right, HNU, here we go. One of our Beta Pro. So this here is your daily bull. So this here is a 2x leverage. 2x leverage, and here, we'll just pull it up here. Yeah, I mean, I can see right here, down to 1604. Yeah, a little bit of a drop in there. Actually, let's just go to the one. Let's go to the 1 day. And you can sort of see it started the day around 1806. Yeah, that's a big drop. So that, of course, means natural gas not doing so great today. Now, if natural gas had been moving in the other direction, you'll get a big movement to the upside on this as well. But guys, once again, these Beta Pro are pretty darn dangerous, and I never recommend them to anybody who is investing. They're for traders. They're for short-term traders. They're not for an investment portfolio. Larry says, Soviet proverb, they pretend to pay us and we pretend to work. I like that. How many people have done that? Just curious. How many of you at your jobs have pretended to be working harder than you actually are when the boss walks by? You know, you pull up some screens or some spreadsheets and you just make it look like you're doing stuff. Then they walk by and then you minimize it. You do whatever it was you were doing. Watching YouTube. Maybe you were on Facebook. Maybe you were playing Snod or Snood. Is that the one that you shoot the little balls? Zeniel says, I have both. If there are bad numbers from October and November, can they still blame Biden? I have a feeling that even in year 4, Trump will be blaming Biden. It'll be like, no, that's a Biden thing. That's left over from Biden. Scott says, do we expect anything from Trump other than gaslighting his countrymen at this point? Yeah, I saw a few of these plaques that he had done up in the White House. And he was even on the Ronald Reagan one, he was actually, he had it written that Ronald Reagan was a fan of his as well. And it's like, wait a minute. Ronald Reagan wasn't even, I mean, the guy wasn't really with it, back at that point. Like, if anything, maybe he was a fan of Trump buying houses or bankrupting I don't know. I'm just, anyway, I thought that was odd. Bank of Carrington, I was going to say. Bank of Carrington, where's that? Bank of Canada apparently is going to do its own stable coin. I've heard talks of it, yeah. And we may eventually see something like that. And for me, I think that's going to be a different thing. So if it's pegged to the loonie, it's run by the Bank of Canada, I'll have full faith in it. I mean, it'll be fine. It's just some of these ones that are run by some of the crypto companies that they peg it to the US dollar. Well, it's not official. So, and we've already seen some of these have gotten into trouble. Some, there's been some hanky stuff over the last few years. So I'd be okay with it. Like I said, if it was, if it was run by the Bank of Canada, I would have as much faith in it as I have in the loonie. So just to put that out there. All right, and now just to put this out there, Brian just dropped a gifted sub. Denny won the sub. Congratulations, Denny, and thank you, Brian. Of course, that gets Brian our third goat of the day. Our third goat. Our corral is almost full. So that's 3 guys. We need one more if you wanna show tomorrow. But there's lots of time. What are we? We're an hour in, and these normally go about an hour and a half. So you got about 30 minutes. 30 minutes. Oh, wait a minute. Holy banana bread. Brian has now come in and taken spot number 4. So this guarantees us a show. We have a show tomorrow. We will be able to kick off the weekend in style. Awesome. And if that wasn't enough, Brian has unlocked the Christmas goat. Those of you who have been waiting, oh boy, here it comes. The Christmas, the Christmas goat. Oh my God. Okay. Thank you, Brian, for unlocking the Christmas goat. Oh, do I have to wait another whole year for this one to come back? I love the Christmas goat. All right. Oh boy. Oh, the Christmas goat. All right. What can I say? Dave says, love your show. Keep up the great work. And thank you, Dave. Thank you. And I love doing what I do. I love to do what I do for sure. Whoops. Brian says, bringing in the UFC to the White House is just showing the world how low your government is. It's ridiculous. Yeah, I mean, I never thought I'd see that type of thing at the White House. That's for sure. Good afternoon, everyone, says Mario. And Claude says, yeah, I have plans, but struggle to follow them. But I'm getting better. Still in my first year of investing, so still learning. Yeah, it's a learning process. Definitely a learning process. Actez says, I'm still waiting for my BK split shares in Questrade. I've heard that Wealthsimple users have got theirs already. Okay, well, hopefully, I can't see it taking that much longer with Questrade, but hopefully you get that sooner than later. Brian, your EXE swing trade explanation might not have made it up because of the big red candle would have triggered a stop loss for you. Yeah, that's a possibility, and that's the whole thing. Depending on when I put that stop loss in, yeah, there's always that possibility of a stop loss getting triggered. But I mentioned this before. When I set a stop loss, my stop loss is at a profit. I'll give you an example. I'll give you a today example. So I did mention yesterday. Yesterday I got in on Tesla because I was feeling like we're going to get some movement to the upside, but nope, we sure didn't. So Tesla went down quite a bit. I sat very deep in the red in Tesla. Earlier today, Tesla came back up. And at that point, I really was like, I just want to reset my position. I know I can get in at an earlier spot. So as soon as I got in the green, I dropped in my stop loss just because, one, I wasn't going to ride down again. Yeah, and then it just wicked right back and hit it again. I'm like, seriously? And then it went up. I was like, seriously, Tesla? What are you doing to me? But I took, I think it was $13 profit, something like that. It wasn't big, but that's fine. That one was not even about profit. My plan, and this is having a plan, my plan was to get out in the green, wait for it to come back down and get a better position because I wasn't fully happy with the position that I was in. And, well, I'll be waiting, probably, maybe tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow I'll get my position. All right. And Brian says, I already received mine. Oh, Brian, are you on Questrade? I think you might be. You might be. Or maybe not. If you're on Wealthsimple, that would explain it. Doorpat, lack of discipline on buying stocks and investing, especially at dips, is a good problem to have. Most of society have lack of discipline with going into debt over unnecessary consumerism. True enough. True enough. One of the biggest problems in the world today is, I hate to say it, but Amazon. And the reason I say that is that they've just made it so easy to spend money. Like quite literally, you can buy something with one click of a button on Amazon. One click. That's basically the worst case scenario for an impulse buyer. So, there's ways around it. I know some people who basically refuse to attach their credit card to Amazon because they're like, no, because then I can do that one click thing. This way here, if I'm buying something, I want to have to take in the painful time to enter all my data in. And then I probably will change my mind while I'm in the process of doing it. Or I'll be like, I don't want it that much that I'm going to type all of that in now. So interesting. It's just that it's so easy. And that's kind of part of this world, is that it's easy to spend money. It's easy to get in debt. It's easy to just let it pile for sure. Cowboy, we got the QQQ, looking to sell from my non-registered to add the 7K to the TFSA for 26, wondering if it's better to sell loser and claim the loss or take the highest profits to make the money. Your thoughts? Okay. Well, taking the highest profits means that you are creating capital gains. So that will hit you on tax time. So that's something you have to sort of weigh out on one side. Or actually, all right. Or, okay, if you take, and I'm going to come back to the or part. If you take the lower, if you take that loss, sure, you can use that against capital gains at a later date. Now, both of them are fine, depending on what you want to do. Also, if that lower one happens to be a stock that you have no longer have faith in, when you move that in, you can buy a completely different stock, of course, because you don't want to turn that capital loss into a superficial loss. So you'd buy a different stock, and hopefully one that you have better faith in for sure. So that's not a bad thing. That's probably the route I would go. But I mean, if you really wanted to, you could go half and half and then cancel each other out, the capital loss versus the capital gain. That would be your third option, is to do that mixture, and then you have, it cancels each other out. There's no tax implications. That would be another option as well. But I probably would do the loss one myself, bank that capital loss to use at a later date, and move that stock into something that I have higher conviction on. But I wouldn't pick necessarily my lowest. I would pick my one that I have the least amount of conviction in, and then move it to something in strong conviction in the TFSA. All right. Paul says, that is why I sold today. What if I started going down for a while? Makes sense. Make nothing, do some. I can. Now that we have a show tomorrow, guys, I'm just going to come over here and turn off the night bot. There we go. All right, let's see here. I wonder if there's a loonie coin. Well, that's I think what the Bank of Canada is kind of. There's been a lot of talk about a coin pegged to the loonie, so be interesting if they could get the name loonie. You could just call it your digital loonie. It's funny, when the loonie first came out, I honestly thought it was a dumb name. I did. They're like, let's call it a loonie. I'm like, oh no, come on, Canada. We got to be something better than a loonie. And I learned to accept it, and I'm fine with it. But then we get the $2 coin. And then they were like, oh, let's just rhyme it with loony and call it a toonie. I'm like, no, seriously? I mean, we got a loon on the back of one. The other one has a polar bear. Why don't we call it a polar or a polar bear? I don't know. I don't know. I'm used to it now, of course. Not like I ever see loonies and toonies anymore. It's rare that I ever see real money. Everything is electronic at this point. And Brian says, yes, you did. You got the Santa goat out. You got the Santa goat out. Paul says, oops, Tesla after hours, 482.69. Good thing I sold at 487.16. And now I'm happy seeing that, Paul, because I want Tesla to go down so I can get a better entry point. So it's working out. It's working for both of us. Brian, stop breaking Candace. There we go. Yeah. Oh boy. Paul says, I see my journaling DLRU to DLR started on December 16th is complete today, so I guess I will not see DLR until Friday. All right, nice. So that, guys, in case you're wondering what that is, that's part of the Norbit Gambit. It's a way to move your money from Canada to the United States, or vice versa, without having to pay a conversion fee. You do have to pay journaling fees, but those are cheaper than the conversion fee on cash. So it's a great way to move money back and forth. And if you're interested in doing it in Questrade, your boy over there, Canadian in a T-shirt, has a great video on it. So you can do it, like I said, you can do it right now on Questrade. You can also do it on National Bank. I think you might be able to do it on the Royal Bank. I'm not 100% sure, but somebody once told me, I think they told me the Royal Bank, but maybe I'm wrong on that one. So double check on the Royal Bank. And it is coming to Wealthsimple in 2026. So you'll be able to do it there as well. UFC at the White House reminds me of the movie Idiocracy. Gatorade. Yeah. I loved it. That was a very interesting movie for sure. Idiocracy has become a documentary. Brian says, I think Tesla is trying to tell you not to play with Tesla. Maybe. All right. Angelo says, Candace, what WTF is going on with strategy, specifically MSTE? Every time I think I'm buying at the bottom, it keeps going lower. Strategy. I have a video coming out tomorrow. It does address that. It does address that. That is in the video. I will say this much. We got two main factors happening with strategy. And, well, here, I'm going to draw something. Let's actually go to the whiteboard. Let's go to the whiteboard. Yeah, let's do it. All right. That is, well, that's the market close. And that is the thing here. But I want the whiteboard. All right, here we go. Pulling up the whiteboard. All right, so one of the big issues when it comes to strategy, oh, I'm behind your head, but that's your thing, but that's fine. So when we have a company like Strategy, there's two things happening here. So one is you've got your regular volatility, all right? And the second is we've also got dilution happening. And I'm going to sort of hit on both of these. So I'm just going to draw this here as a, no, it's not Charlie Brown's shirt, but this is a chart. So when you have a stock like Strategy that moves up and down a lot because of the volatility, why? Because they hold so much Bitcoin, they're sort of strapped. They're strapped to the volatility of Bitcoin. So they move up a whole bunch. Now, when we're moving up, and I'm going to go with the little pen on this one, and when we're moving up, you got covered calls happening. You've got strike prices. You've got loss of upside. So I'm just going to put minus US. So upside potential is being lost. Minus US over here, upside potential being lost. So you are losing a lot of that upside because that growth tends to be pretty explosive. So you're losing upside potential. So basically at that point, if it went from, if your shares, let's say it this way, if Bitcoin went up 10% and Strategy went up 10%, tied to Bitcoin, then this ETF, you're going to lose a lot of that upside. Maybe you'll only go up 7%, maybe even less depending on the thing. Because the problem is, right now they've got a huge dividend. Right now, when it's roughly 132% at this moment, based on a $5 MSTE. Well, the problem with that, to get that amount of money, they're doing something called at the money, ATM. So what that means is when they're doing when they're doing it, I don't know what the price of MicroStrategy is, to be honest. I don't have a clue. But let's just say it's $200. I'm pulling this out of my butt, guys. We're just going to say it's $200. So with an at the money, what they'll do is they will say, okay, it's $200. We'll do a contract with a strike price of $200. And you're thinking, what? Why would you do that? Well, because it's almost a guarantee that the person who buys a contract is going to win, and you can get higher premiums. So your premiums are high because, you're doing an at-the-money covered call. Now, what best case scenario for you, obviously this person who bought it right now at $200, and let's say it was a 1-month contract. I'm just picking it. I just want, it might be shorter. It might be longer. It's probably shorter, to be honest. But let's just say it was 1 month. That person who bought that contract, they're sitting there. They're like, okay, I already paid the premium. If I just take my stuff now at 200, I've lost money. I'm not doing it. I think Bitcoin is going to go up this month. Thus, I think strategy is going to go up. And these calls are written on strategy. So the actual covered calls are not written on the ETF. They're written on what the ETF is holding. So in that month, let's say strategy goes all the way up to $275. Well, towards the end of the month, if they're at $275, this person can say, okay, I'm taking it. And guess what? They're taking it. They're only paying $200 a share. And this might be, let's say it's 1,000 shares. That's a lot of money. That's now removed out of the system. So where does that money come from? Well, guess what? It comes out of the ETF price. So your ETF all of a sudden starts to go down a little bit. Now, yeah, you still get your big premium. Fantastic. But you have this whole thing because you're missing all of that upside. It's not going up. It's not going up as high as it could be. Now, in a best case scenario, if you have it at 200, usually what's a best case scenario is if during that month you get something like this, like maybe it goes up to 250. But that person is hoping to get to 275 so they don't sell, and then it falls down. And at the end of the month, if it's like down at let's say they went all the way down to 185 and this person is still waiting, well, they're going to get to a point where they're just going to be like, okay, we're not going to do it. They're not going to do it because, for one, well, they can't once it's underneath the strike price. So once it's under 200, right about there, they can't even redeem it at that point. So in a case like this, you still have your shares, you have your premium. Yeah, those shares are worth 185 because the market's down. So there is all of this, and that's eating up your upside potential. So, when MicroStrategy goes like this, you might be going like this. So, this is MSTR, this is MSTE, but you're also getting your dividends. So you're getting all of your dividends. All right. So that's one of the factors. Now, I will point out, because this is at the money, more times than not, you are probably losing the strike price. So this second scenario, not happening as much. It does happen, but not as much. So you are losing a lot. And if it's really explosive, so, let's say it went up to 300, holy banana bread, you've now lost, well, if you did 1,000, you basically lost 100 in total times 1,000. So that adds up pretty darn fast. So that's where part of that price coming down goes. Now, the other thing is, all right, let's just, there we go. We got Michael Saylor here. Give him some ears. He looks a little more like Bart Simpson, but he is very bullish on Bitcoin. All right. Now, what he does is he likes to buy Bitcoin, a lot of it. And he will take loans to buy Bitcoin. And how does he take loans? Well, one of the ways he does it is he does something called dilution. So what dilution does is basically it increases the overall number of outstanding shares of strategy. This is really complex. I'm not even getting into the complexity of it, but in a nutshell, it's also pulling that price down. So you've got both of these factors affecting MSTE. Making it very hard. So I will tell you right now, when it comes to MSTE, have I ever held them? Yes. Have I held them as an investment? No. Have I held them as an income fund? Not really. That was just icing on the cake. I was more or less looking at them as being a midterm swing at one point. I swang them for a little bit. I don't like the structure overall. And I will say this, I know that there are people out there that love them. Gary Gill, he obviously still loves MSTE, even though he lost how crazy amount of money. But for me, I would rather something like an HHIS. I don't like, because this here is a single stock, so SSETF. I am very cautious with them because you need a stock that is moving in the right direction, not just the right direction, but has market conditions that's conducive to making a bunch of money. So I would rather, instead of going with any single stock ETF, I'd rather grab something like HHIS, which has a basket of them. Yep, there we go. Oh, there's my basket. They have a basket of stocks. That makes it a little bit easier. So I like it for that reason. Conversely, there's also ones like Biggie, which will give you a lot of the same, except for with Biggie, you're actually holding the stocks. So you're not holding all of the single share ones. You're holding the stocks. You're still writing covered calls on them. It's still doing the same thing. So those are just a couple of options for sure. But I would just be careful with MSTE. Will you get in the green in the future? You might. You might get into the green. I don't know. Now, I don't know if you'll ever get into the green on the share price side, but when you look at the total return, I think you'll get back into the green for sure. I just think you need to be careful with MSTE. If I was holding it now at where it's at, I probably wouldn't sell it. But I don't know. A lot of people are always asking me, is it a good entry point? Well, it probably is, but at the same time, right now you're getting such a crazy yield that it kind of is, but it's not one I would hold as a big part of my main strategy for any amount of time. We'll leave it at that for now. But yeah, MSTE, it's tough. It is tough. It is very, very tough. And yeah, will it keep going down? When I did the video, the one coming out tomorrow, well, it's already available for channel members. Its price was at $5. At $5, I don't even know what it is right now. Let's actually take a look. MSTE. 469. Oh boy, yeah. So it's already fallen quite a bit. Oh, yeah. This one, is there a bottom? Probably at some point. Are we close to it? I think so, but I just say extreme caution on this one. Just a caution. It's the single shares. It's those single shares that lack of diversification tends to get you sometimes. And this one here this is a tough one. This one is just really, really tough for sure. Now some people are playing it really, really well. I think Paul has been using MSTE as part of his strategy, but he's not just holding. He's been buying and selling and doing a whole bunch of other things on the side. So, yeah. It's not the best one. It's definitely not the best one for sure. All right. Cowboy says, Amazon sends you things you may like, baiting you to buy. Oh, they sure do. They sure do. And sometimes the A word will just all of a sudden pipe up with notifications of things that you might want to buy. Let's see. Brian says, I just checked my Quest Trade. I don't have BK in there like I thought I did. I have it in my Wealthsimple TFSA and RRSP and received my shares there. I only have 3K in Quest Trade to try them out. Okay. Paul says, I have Quest Trade Plus, about $11.95 a month, which includes free journaling. Ooh, nice. If you're journaling a lot, that might actually be worth it. Otherwise, about $9.99 plus tax per journaling. Yeah, so right there, if you journal twice a month, that's what you want. You want that $11.95 instead of paying $9.99 each time. Let's see. Thanks, Candace. Next time you're in Halifax, I will buy you dinner. Oh, very. I'll hold you to it. I'll hold you to it. Um, it's actually funny. I was almost tempted to make a trip there this December, but things just weren't lining up for it, unfortunately. Paul says, I guess these withdrawals from the TFSA from October and 2 different ones this week adds to my 2026 TFSA limit. Yeah, it does. Absolutely. Yeah, when you get your new space back in January 1st, anything you withdrew this year, you get that space back too as well. Let's see. I love this. MSTE went from MicroStrategy to bad strategy. Yes. Yeah, a little bit. What can I say? All right, guys, we're at that hour and a half mark. So if you are a channel member, I will be back here in like less than 2 hours. And we will be doing a channel member live stream. You guys gave me a couple of ideas. We'll talk about some of that tonight. I can't wait. I'll get a thumbnail up sooner than later. It'll probably be closer to the actual live stream, but it's going to be a good one. We're also going to be back here again tomorrow night. We're going to do this all over again. We're going to kick off the weekend. I can't wait. And also tomorrow there will be an opportunity if you guys want to add a stream on Monday. So the Financial Express can keep on going. And we are, of course, getting closer to hopefully a Santa Claus rally. So it's going to be fun. All right, guys, until next time, enjoy the rest of your day. And for the channel members, I will see you in a couple of hours. Until then, take care and bye.